Society is always taken by surprise by any new example of common sense. Ralph Waldo Emerson. I've always appreciated that quote because you can't help but think, oh, what? Cigarettes cause lung cancer? Science didn't prove that. It's mind-boggling how eager we are to hear good news about our bad habits, isn't it? One of the big obstacles we face right now, solving most of our problems, has to do with our addictions and denial with the things we love. And if it's ever brought to our attention, we're always taken by surprise. What? Connection between what we eat and what we got? What? Well, I thought we all knew we are what we eat. Interestingly, Emerson knew what we should eat. And I've told this story before. I was at a friend's house back in like 1997. Been raw for 7 years, and books are jumping at me. Went to a friend's house, and sure enough, a book jumped at me, and first page I opened to, and the first thing I read was, "And food that fire had polluted." Just like the book on Voltaire, a few doctors dared to undermine their income to spread a knowledge of preventive medicine. It's mind-boggling what happens when we can bump up these biophotons that we're destroying when we cook our food. Food that fire has polluted. Here's Emerson talking about this, and he even said that Alcott was the guy who turned him on to this. He didn't say anything about who Alcott was now. Didn't give his full name or even say he was a doctor. But I recognize his name. He was one of the early founders of the natural hygiene movement. And Emerson agreed with pretty much everything he said, and he admitted that his wife didn't like the idea and the people in the kitchen didn't like it. And again, I've gone on and on about this before, and it was so funny because he said Alcott went to England to try to convince the Brits, and of course he found that that everything that they're against everything good too. In fact, I want to go ahead and play just a little bit of what I recorded this morning. Listen to this real quick. This is some of Alcott.
The spirit of England was hostile to human welfare, and her institutions were adverse to the largest liberty of the soul. In America, Alcott wrote, "Is that second Eden to be planted, in which the divine seed is to bruise the head of evil and restore man to his rightful communion with God?"
Hear what he's talking about? Another Eden. Bruise the head of evil. Cooked food is evil, folks. Oh, surprise, surprise. Stick your hand in fire, it makes it better. Yeah, I can lick the flesh right off my bones now. Folks, what's it going to take to get the average person to realize the obvious? There's only one way to convince anybody, folks. There is only one way. I already realize this. There's not a damn thing I can say to convince the average person that what I'm saying is true. But you know what? They can prove it. That's the whole purpose behind my three-step process. And the first step is the solid food vacation. Excuse me. There's a reason why I focus on this so much. Because people don't want to accept the truth. They want to just continue to glide with the stream of the crowd. And they just don't know what they're missing. So again, this is the biggest problem that we have. We rely on science, look at all the scientific studies. We've got to wake up to this fact. So this is one of the things we can help other people do, is to recognize the fact that they got to, if they're going to wait for science to come along and prove what we need to do, they might as well be heading east looking for a sunset. It's not going to happen. And if you get into an argument with some of these people, especially our so-called experts, take the advice of the top defense attorneys and DAs. Be aggressive, be dominant. All right, lay out the facts, be aggressive, be dominant about it. Lay out the facts, be aggressive, be dominant about it. Can you solve most of our problems? Do you have a solution? Or do you know the cause to most of our problems? No, you don't. So shut the hell up, you stupid MDs. You are clueless. When you're confronted with these bozos, be aggressive. Lay out the facts. Be dominant about it. I've got a solution. And you don't want to prove me right? What the hell is wrong with you? You should be thrilled to death that someone has come along and says, I've got a solution. But you know what? If you put a dozen people in a room of a wide variety of protocols, and you ask them, do you guys know the cause? A lot of them will go, yeah, I know the cause, I know the cause. Even the dumb MDs are going to be stupid enough to go, yeah, we know the cause. The germs, the viruses. But 90% of the other stuff, no. But yeah, we know the cause. But when you go to traditional Chinese medicine, they're going to think they know the cause, right? Well, it's a blockage, it's a blockage. So this is the tricky part. How do we know whether we've got the right piece of the puzzle? There's only one way. Only one way. You got to test an idea as time has come. You got to take a solid food vacation. You got to prove this to yourself. And I'm telling you, for those who don't know anything at all about this, you have to sit down and look at what we get when we do this. And if you don't take 1 week out of your life to prove this is true, you are a first-class fool. And that's why I did it. Because I realized that to myself. My God, if everything they're saying, if a small fraction of what they're saying is true, wouldn't I be a fool not to find out if it is? Something so simple produces such profound results. It is that simple. It is that profound. And no one's going to understand it until they do it themselves. So tell everybody about a solid food vacation. Tell them to come to one of my videos and look at the description box below, and I usually always include a playlist to a solid food vacation. And many times we'll have a separate link to the first step, which is a 2-hour seminar I gave on how to do this. Now, why do I focus on this piece of the puzzle so much? Why do I think it's better than eating fruit? Anything you're willing to do is great. I love it. I love it. I love it. I just know that most people, the average person out there, is going to struggle as long as they're eating. We've got to take away the hunger spell. Fruit is not going to do that. As long as you're eating, you're going to be under a spell. It's going to take you too long to break it. That's why Tolstoy understood this. That's why he wrote a 25-page essay called The First Step as a foreword to The Ethics of Diet that he translated into Russian by Howard Williams. A great book full of 80-some-odd brilliant people in the past that all were saying, look at the diet and behavior connection. What? Diet and behavior connection? I can see diet disease, but no way diet behavior. I'm always amazed at how many people struggle with that one. And yet, that's the key. If you don't satisfy your needs, you're going to get a warning sign somehow. It's going to be an illness or an ill behavior. The dark side of our behavior is part of those symptoms. That's why it's a symptom. It's an effect before it becomes a cause. It's not the first cause. We're not born with the dark side to our behavior. This isn't part of our DNA. We don't have a propensity for evil. This is not a natural tendency. It's part of our feedback system. All of our illnesses and ill behaviors are part of our feedback system. So when you're trying to enlighten some bozo MD, lay out the facts. Be aggressive. Be dominant about it. Tell him if he doesn't take a solid food vacation, he's a first-class fool. And actually, because of what he's doing, they're the biggest impediment we have to overcome where we're at. If the MDs on this planet would simply wake up, we could take back control on this planet, because that's how we're being controlled. It's about our illness. It's our sickness. It's all around that. And no one has to be in cahoots. We're sick. We're going to do the same shitty, stupid things no matter where we are, because we've got this sickness in us. And remember, there's a bell of bad behavior. 2% are the saints. Oh, they're eating bad food. Look at them. But then there's 2% that are psychopaths, and the rest of us, we can't relate to the ones unless we're close to the sides. If you're close to a genius, you can understand a genius. If you're close to a shithead, you can understand a shithead. So the thing is, they get away with what they do because none of us would ever dream that they would do this. And it all has to do with our health. Everything on this planet has everything to do with our health, our lack of health. That's why everything related to it has to be controlled. That's why you don't want to wait for some scientific study by some stupid doctor that proves this drug is better than that drug. Wake up, my friends. Most of our problems are self-inflicted. We're doing it to ourselves. We are the enemy, but that means we're also the ones we're waiting for. Where's my hero? Look in the mirror. You're the hero, buddy. You're the one that can do it. Definition of a hero. Somebody can solve a problem no one else can. Well, if most of our problems are self-inflicted, what does that mean? It means we are the heroes because we can stop doing what we're doing and we'll stop getting what we're getting. And when we get something better than this, we're in for a treat.